Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Deck Tech, and we are talking today about Jodah's counters and removal. So yeah, let's get right into it. So Jodah the Unified has a lot of interesting situations. Most of them are the fact that you have legendary creatures that need to be protected at all costs, because every single card that you want to play in this deck is a card that either makes people salty or it's gonna make people panic out. So if they panic all the time, they're going to go right for you. And therefore, you need to be ready for their threats, and you need to be able to both remove as well as counter stuff. Okay, so when you counter stuff, you want to counter stuff with the lowest cost possible so that you can actually play it, and then when they remove your stuff, you counter the removal. Okay, so that's why we have Force of Will, Force of Negation, Pact of Negation, and Fierce Guardianship. They're all technically free. So Force of Negation for 3 mana. If it's not your turn, you may exile a blue card from your hand rather than pay this card's mana cost, so it costs 3 on your turn. But if it's not, then you can actually pitch a blue card and then counter a non-creature. Okay, so same thing is gonna happen with Force of Will. Pitch a blue card, pay 1 life, and then it's free, so you counter target spell. And you can also redirect damage. And we have Pact of Negation too, which says counter target spell, but if you don't pay 5 at the next upkeep, you lose the game. So you need to have those 5. That can help you win the game by countering now and winning, and then you don't have to pay afterwards. And same thing is going to happen with Fierce Guardianship. It's going to cost 3, but if you control the commander, you may cast it without paying the mana cost, and it's target non-creature spell, you counter it. Okay, same thing is going to happen. We want the lowest cost mana, so we go right into the next one with 1 mana cost counters, which is going to be Mental Misstep, counter a target spell with converted mana cost 1. So you can target one of these 3 or other stuff like these, which are going to be easily counterable. You can also counter a Soul Ring, something like that. I do not suggest it, it's whatever. But yeah, I would rather suggest you take away their removal. Then we have Swan Song for 1 mana, counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell, and its controller puts a 2/2 bluebird creature token with flying into the battlefield. But just like these, if you're winning, it doesn't matter what they have. Like you try to get to win somehow, right? You choose, but somehow you try to get to win. So these repercussions that the counter spells have, they're not important. What's important is saving right now while they're trying to take away, so you can get to your win. And then you have Flusterstorm, so it's gonna be counter target instant or sorcery unless your opponent pays 1, but it's got Storm. So because it's got Storm, it's actually a crazy bonkers card, because it's going to be the same counter time and time and time and again. So you would have to counter every single Storm instance, copy. And also you could just pay 1, but you have to pay as many times as there are storm counts. So I play something, then I play something else, then I play something else. Someone counters, that's a 4th spell. Then you got Flusterstorm for 5. It's 5 mana, they have to pay, or any combination of paying mana with also countering stuff. So yeah, that's a very powerful situation. But yeah, there is also, like I said, the removal on your part. Maybe there's ways that don't let you win. So you want to get rid of some pieces so that you finally can get the win. That's why we have Swords of Plowshares and Path to Exile, both with cost 1. They both exile target creature. For Swords, it's gonna be its controller gains life equal to its power. Does not matter, and much less in Commander. And on Path to Exile, its controller may search his or her library for a basic land card. Okay, then shuffle the library, and it enters the battlefield tapped. Once again, does not matter, because by then we'll be winning, or we will actually accrue such value that this is going to be more useful for us to get rid of that, even though you gave them mana or a land, permanent, or life, and you still get to keep your stuff, or you still get to do the thing you wanted to do. So same thing happens with Abrupt Decay and Assassin's Trophy. You have for 1 red and 1 green, 1 black and 1 green, destroy target non-land permanent on Abrupt Decay with converted mana cost 3 or less, and on Assassin's Trophy, destroy target permanent an opponent controls, and they may search their library for a basic land card, just like Path to Exile, okay? So it's going to help people on some things, but it's not really, because you are getting rid of what you don't like so that they can't play, and then you can play no matter what they like or not. So it's all pretty useful. There's also another like hidden combo here. So because this deck draws so much, and I hope you can see the enchantments and the shrines part of this video, as well as actually the legendary creatures. Watch them all, they're very short videos, and I think you like them. If you want this, you'll want the other ones too. So hop onto that one after this and you tell me, right? So we have Coslic Butcher of Truth, and the way to cycle this deck is sometimes your opponents aren't milling you, but you want to mill yourself so that you can keep playing stuff. For example, maybe I want an infinite activations so that I can get rid of stuff, or so that I can counter stuff. So what you do is with Coslic Butcher of Truth, you draw 4 cards on cast. So regardless of whether it's countered or not, it's going to be activating that trigger ability of a draw. So you need to have at least 4 cards in the deck for you to loop this. But Coslic being countered actually has him enter the graveyard, and then you can shuffle all the cards that you have in your graveyard. So if you have 4 cards, including itself, you can actually draw the 4 after this guy triggers and gets countered. So the trigger is on the stack, then this guy gets countered, counter resolves, this one goes to the graveyard, and then the graveyard, as his effect is going to trigger when he's on the graveyard, he's going to go to the graveyard, and then with the trigger on the stack, he's going to draw himself, okay? However, that'll need some mana. So if you have the right amount of mana or the right amount of stuff that you can draw, or both, then you can make a certain kind of a combo. So that's going to be the engine for looping. You want to counter your Coslic, so you need infinite mana, something like that, to counter your Coslic, and or you can generate tons of mana. It doesn't matter. The point is, that's a vehicle. You try to counter your own Coslic so that you can keep looping the cards that Coslic is going to draw you. So those 4, you're going to play 3 other cards and then loop Coslic, 3 other cards, loop Coslic. So I would suggest, since you have infinite mana, you try to do these 4 and then play Coslic and counter it, or vice versa. Try to do these 2 or these 2 or these 2, doesn't matter. So those are going to be the 2 that you're using, and then you get Coslic and the counter for Coslic. So let's say you cast Coslic, trigger on the stack, then you play what? Counter target spell, pay 5 mana, 15 so far. And then on top of that, you are going to play Swords and Abrupt Decay. Okay, so now Abrupt Decay is going to do the thing to the opponent, goes to the graveyard. Swords does the thing, goes to the graveyard. Force of Will counters the Coslic, goes to the graveyard. And then Coslic is going to be countered by the Force of Will, goes to the graveyard, shuffles into the deck. You only have 4 cards, so now you draw those 4. That's part of your hand, and because they're in your hand, the effect of Coslic resolved, you have 0 cards in your deck. And that's how you keep, if you have infinite mana, you keep playing these. So once again, Coslic, Force of Will, Swords, Decay. Once again, Abrupt Decay, Swords, Force of Will, Coslic, draw. And that's how, with what, this is 18 mana. If you have infinite mana, you can keep looping this over and over and over again until you completely get rid of your opponent's creatures or your opponent's non-land permanents, or you can just destroy a permanent your opponent controls and you can get all their basic lands out and get rid of them too. You can also exile target creature, or you can actually counter the counter and then counter another counter, and you can keep doing that. So counter this, then with that counter this, then with that counter this. So then this counters this, and this resolves, and then Coslic comes back. And that's the way that you can make a loop. You can have infinite casts, so that's infinite storm, and that is actually infinite instant and sorceries, whatever you want to do with it. And finally, that's infinite removal if you find a way to loop it. So that's a lot of powerful draw. I hope you enjoyed it, and let me know about this combo, because it's a really interesting one. And yeah, Coslic is a great card in and of itself, so it'll help you not deck out. And yeah, it's a way to actually do a board wipe and remove everyone. So if you have infinite mana, you can do a board wipe with Coslic and one of these 2 and 1. So let me know what you think. Comment on which is your favorite counter, as well as which is your favorite art. Because honestly, I am loving the foil edge ones, and I'm also loving the old art, the borders. So they look pretty beautiful. And yeah, let me know also on the foil edge, as well as these weird things, like all these new sets. They have a weird new border every single 2 months that we get a new release. I don't know. Have you guys noticed that? We get every 2 months a new border, and I don't know that people actually get tired of it or not, but hey, it looks beautiful. I think it looks great on the Jodah. And yeah, so let me know your favorite of these removals, and yeah, comment, like, share, subscribe, and follow for more. Okay, I will see you on the next one. Peace out.